Today, I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes that I made as a copywriter when I started landing my first client. So, this is going to be based on my experience. If I tell you this, is because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. I don't want you to be overworked and underpaid because that's exactly what happened to me. There is no script, there is nothing. It's just going to be freestyle. So, yeah, if that's something that matters to you, keep around because this advice is something that I wish somebody had given me when I started getting my clients, right? When I started making money with copywriting and yeah, so most people talk about how to land clients, how to do outreach, how to improve it, writing copy, but nobody shows you what you need to do whenever you actually get on the sales calls, right? And and so the first thing that you must do, and that happened to me, and again, I'm going to tell you this as my story. So I got on a call with this client. It was a project-based client that I had a long time ago, right? And so the first thing that he said is that he was gonna pay me certain amount of money every single time for the projects. So let's imagine that I'm talking, I don't know, $3,000, let's imagine, or not even $3,000. Let's say that it was from 100 to $800, right? So if you're a beginner copywriter, 100 to $800 a project is gonna be good money. But if you're an experienced copywriter, if you know what you deserve, if you know how good you are, then this money could not be enough. And so here's the mistake that I made whenever I accepted this offer. Number one is I didn't ask exactly what the project is was gonna look like. I just thought that it was gonna be a few emails and maybe a, I don't know, a VSL, right? But it turns out that it was a full funnel. It was a full 30 email sequence, and it was a lot of work for just that money. That again, if you're a beginner, that might be a lot of money, but if you actually know how much effort and how much money you this type of project requires, and I'm talking about from 5K to 7K. So imagine being paid $800 for a five to $7,000 project because I didn't ask the right words. I didn't say, okay, so what is the project about? What do you expect me to do? What don't you expect me to do? And I never add those questions, right? I never sent a like a summary after the call just to let the client know exactly what was going to be covered under those $800. I never say like, hey, so I'm pretty excited to start working with you, but based on the conversation we had, this is what I will be doing, right? And that's the biggest mistake you can make, because if you're not clear what you need to do, if you don't actually leave those things you need to do in writing, then they're gonna start putting you more work, because that's exactly what happened to me. So now I was not only doing that, but I was doing other things for only $800. And also, if that happens, the moment that your clients start asking you to do more than they're actually paying you for, then you need to let them know like, hey, this is not what we agreed. This was not in the agreement, or this was not in the contract. If you actually want me to do the extra thing you're asking me to do, I'm more than happy to do that for an extra charge, right? So that's exactly what you should be doing. You should not be working for free even though you're a beginner, because, and when I say working for free, is that doing more than what you're being paid to do. And I know what you might be thinking right now. Okay, but I do want to show them that I'm good. And I totally get it. I've been there before, but if you just do it because you want to show you're good, then you're going to get taken advantage of, because these people are going to see that you're not telling them anything, and then they're going to take advantage of you. So that's not the goal. If you're actually in this, is because you want to make money, not because you just want to give your work for free, right? And the other thing is, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to tell them like, hey, you know what, this is like, this requires more effort and more time than what you're paying me, and I cannot do it for the money. And right here, you need to understand that not because you are desperate for money, you should be desperate to say yes to everything that does not align with with what you want. Because again, people are gonna take advantage of you because they see you desperate, and that's not. It's never a good thing just to be desperate or anything like that. Because usually, when you're desperate, you don't take the best decisions. You take decisions out of desperation, but not decisions that could benefit you in the long run. So, another time, I had a client that we agreed on certain stuff. So let's imagine $1,000 on a retainer. Then I would need to do a lot of work from writing copy, from sending outreach, from getting clients for this person, to managing the whole team. And so the thing is that whenever you accept something, you need to not only think like short term, but you also need to think long term. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. Let's imagine that you are told, hey, I'm going to pay you $1,000. And this is going to be an example, okay? And I'm going to pay you $1,000 to write emails, 3 emails a week. I'm going to pay you the same $1,000 to write the emails, to write the social media copy for social media reels and YouTube videos. Plus, you need to send average and get 20 clients, right? 20 clients that you're going to be managing. And these clients are going to be, I don't know, content creators. And with these content creators, again, you have to push them. You need to actually manage them. You need to show them the ways for the content to go viral so that these people are able to sell the product your client is paying you that $1,000 for, right? So let's imagine that you accept that offer because the client say, okay, at the beginning it's gonna be this much money, but then it's gonna be 5K, 6K every month in a retainer. It's gonna go up. Yeah, and that's very important. Yes, you need to think long term, but also here's the biggest mistake that I made and that I see people making every single time, and it is not thinking in the mid term, right? Not only long term, but okay, what's the amount of time that it's gonna take me to write the captions, the social media scripts, the emails, the outreach to people, onboard the people that I need, that they need to sell the products? How long is gonna take that from the moment that it is actually taking you to make 1,000 to making, I don't know, 5K, 6K, 10K? And you need to be clear on that time frame, because if you don't ask the right questions, you're gonna be overworked and underpaid. You're gonna be doing a lot of stuff that actually does not make up for how much money you're making. Because if you think differently, okay, let's imagine you're spending 30 hours every 3 days, or even more than that. Let's imagine it's taking you 60 hours a week to do all of that for only $1,000. How much, like, how long would it take you, and how much time would it take you to do outreach and get clients? I don't know. Let's imagine get 3 clients that pay you $1,000 each, right? And I'm talking, let's imagine that instead of you doing all of that, you just focus those 60 hours every week in only doing outreach. Like, you just outreach to people. How many weeks or how many hours or how many days is it going to take you before you land one client? I'm talking probably 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or even less than that. And the moment you land those 3 clients, then it's going to be $3,000 only before like you land those clients. After you land the clients, then let's imagine that you close all of them for $1,000 per month for writing emails, and I don't know, writing 3 scripts for those reels every week, right? So let's say that in average takes you 6 hours a week. If you know how to use ChatGPT, if you know how to use Claude, and you have 3 clients, let's imagine that that's taking you by the longest 18 hours, right now you're working less and you've been paid more because now you're worth what you actually can deliver, and you're not worth the amount of hours that you can work, right? And that's the biggest mistake, guys. Do not fall for anything that's that where you're working, that were and that's the biggest mistake that I see you making and that I made. Do not work with somebody who's gonna measure your like how useful you are just by the amount of hours you're going to be working, because if that's the case, it's not any different from a 9 to 5. It's not different from anything else. And you need to find a way where you're paid based on how useful you are and how good you are for that person who hires you. In this case, let's imagine it is your clients. So yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was being overworked, underpaid. My time was not actually being paid what I think I'm worth. And you need to be cocky. You need to be a little bit cocky to say like, okay, yeah, I'm not worth that much, or I'm not worth that less, or whatever it is, right? And again, if whatever it is that you're doing does not align with your values, if that's then whatever you're doing does not align with how much time you're actually investing, aka how much input you're putting, and you're not getting a proportionate amount of output for what you're putting, then it's not worth it. And you have to be willing to walk away from that. Otherwise, it's going to be an endless cycle of toxicity where you're just there because you're afraid you're never going to land another client, but you're not making enough money. And you have to decide what you want. And again, you have to think midterm and long term. Okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing, if I keep working with this client, what's going to be, what's my life going to look like in, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, a year? Chances of you being in the same spot, working the same amount of time, making the same amount of money. So you have to stop being desperate. You need to think differently and actually understand that you're not going to be in the same spot the whole time. And that for you to advance, for you to move on, for you to get something better, you need to let go. It's the same thing as dating women. Maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but it's just like having a toxic girlfriend, right? You want one thing, but this girlfriend wants another thing for you. You guys are not aligned. And she makes your life so much harder than if you were alone. And you know that. You are aware that leaving her is the best thing you could do with your sanity, with your life. You would progress so much more without her than with her. But you don't want to leave her because you're complacent, because you don't want to be alone. You're afraid to be alone. You're afraid to go out and in the dating pool and try to catch another fish again. You don't want to do that because you know it's uncomfortable. It hurts. It's not good. Same thing with clients. So do not fall for it. Do not fall for the trap. Ask the questions you need to ask. Ensure that whatever you're going to be paid aligns with what you want, with how useful you are. And if it is not, just say, hey, this is not for me. I'll just wait my turn. I'll wait for somebody who can actually pay me what I'm worth. And again, it's not a matter of being cocky. It's a matter of knowing what you're worth, how much money you're actually worth being paid. And this also applies with your relationships, with everything you do with your life. So if this is an advice that I could give myself, my old self, this is exactly what I would tell myself. And hopefully this resonates with you. Hopefully you made it to this point, because if you did, this is going to completely change your life, and this is going to help you make so much more money. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next one.